So good morning, guys. Welcome to answer session writing. So let's go over some house rules. Just as a rule, when we're talking as a group, I just want to ask that you raise your hand if you have a question, or if I pose a question to the group, raise your hand so that we are not talking out of turn. Make sure that we are tracking the speaker and we're respecting everybody and their voices, because this is a learning environment and everybody has something to contribute. If you are confused, if you have any questions, remember we just need to raise our hand. Does anybody have any questions about house rules? Just raise our hand if you have questions. No speaking out of turn, and be respectful of those that are around us. So starting with today, we have a huge objective, and what I want you guys to know going into this is that we are not going to understand the objective the first time we read it. It has lots of different parts, but that is what we're going to do today. We are going to take time to break down those parts that we have in our objective. So the first thing we're going to do is read these objectives. We're going to write them down so that we have understanding in our minds what is going on. So can I get one volunteer to read the very first objective? Thank you, Malik.
I can explain what informational text are.
Right. So the first thing we will do is we will go over what an informational text is. We'll look at definitions. Each of you guys will construct your own definition. We then will come back together as a group. We'll make up one definition. I will write that definition down, give it back to the class, and that will be our definition of what informational texts are. Somebody read the second objective. Go ahead, Brianna.
I can break down the intersection essay prompt.
I can break down an intersection prompt. We have done this 1,000,001 times. I will give you the prompt. It's going to look scary. It's going to have lots of big words. The important thing is that we'll go through it. We'll circle words that we don't understand. We'll define them. We'll come up with a working definition. And then we will write our prompt out and make sure that we understand each component so that we can successfully write the paper.
This is Professor Hess. He is going to be working with you all. I'm going to be doing that.
So, the very first thing we're going to do is I'm going to ask a question. So, can we trust everything that we read?
No.
We can't trust everything we read. Great. So, raise your hand and give me an example of a time when you felt like you couldn't trust something that you read. I'll give you guys about 30 seconds to think, and then we'll take hands. Sure, Laura.
I have been asking that you can't trust everything you read because what if it's the author's opinion?
Say that again for me.
You can't trust whatever you read because what if it's the author's opinion about something?
You can't trust everything you read because what if it's the author's opinion, right? So what if that person's opinion is like completely out of whack and has no evidence, right? We can't trust what that person is saying. What's another case where you might have read something and you couldn't understand, or you couldn't trust when you read? Nobody? How many of us get on social media, Facebook, Kik, Instagram, fashion blogs, entertainment blogs? Can we trust everything that we read on those blogs?
Yeah.
Why can't we trust the things that we read on those blogs? Remember to raise our hands so we don't talk out of turn. Why can't we trust the things that we read on blogs, on Twitter, on Instagram? You guys don't know why you can't? So do you guys trust what you read? If you don't know why you shouldn't trust it, you trust everything that you read? Okay. What you say, Brittany?
Because some things may not be true.
Some things might not be true. We don't know where these people are getting this information from. They could have woke up this morning and decided the sky was green, put it on Instagram, and some of y'all gonna read it and look up twice. But so the important thing is to think, no, we cannot trust everything we read. So the second thing we're going to need to do is cover a definition of informational text. So I want you to take a second, read the sentence where it says, write down a definition of informational text, and I want you to just ponder some ideas about what you think an informational text is, and turn to your partner and talk for the next 30 seconds. So you guys should be turning and talking about what informational text is. Thank you. I should see you talking to me. Okay, so back whole group discussion, and remember I'm going to popcorn this time. So Desiree, tell me what the jury will come up with. What is an informational text? Okay, Desiree.
I would look at a little bit
I would know that an informational text is a text that gives you a lot of information about something, a specific topic.
So an informational text is a text that gives you lots of information about something. We came up with two words I heard that are very important. It is one, a text. Two, it is something that gives you lots of information. Go ahead, Laura. Tell me what your group came up with.
Oh, I was going to ask if I can go to church. But we said that it's information on the passage.
It's information from the passage. So we've got text, we've got information, we've got passage. Those are all great words, and I'm glad that we chose to use them. However, we're missing one key part of an informational text. What kind of information are we getting? Are we getting fictional information, non-fictional information, factual, non-factual information? Yes, Janaya, thank you for your participation. Factual information, great. So there are three key words to an informational text. It is non-fiction, it is factual, and it is a passage that gives us information. With that being said, here is the definition that I want you guys to work with when you're thinking about informational text. Matthew, go ahead and read this definition for me.
Type of nonfiction, a very important type. Nonfiction includes any text that is factual.
Prince, go ahead and read that second point.
A type of literature that is factual.
So, informational text, again, is a type of nonfiction. It's a very important type of literature. The main important thing is just the type of literature that is factual. So when you're looking for informational text, you are looking for the things that you can trust, the things that you can believe, things that are real. So when reading an informational text, what are some things we are looking for? Because it needs to be factual. So how are we going to evaluate that piece of literature so that we can know that it's factual or not? What might be some things what's one thing that we're looking for? When you're in science class and you're doing an experiment, in order to know if your experiment is right, you need what? You need evidence. Awesome job, Emily. So when we're reading these when we're reading the three texts that we'll read over the course of the next 2 weeks, we will be looking for evidence that our informational texts are factual so that we are able to evaluate them and use them to answer our writing prompt.